everybody. This is Rich Hanlin with Mortgage Ballers, and boy, do I have an out of the park experience for you today. I have something that I talk about all the time, but I never get to quite put it together. But I want you to understand what we're doing today. Today, I tracked down three incredible loan originators individually, but they find time to do something very important that they did on their own. It has nothing to do with expert home lending, but I'll let them tell the story. But I've got Evan Kaufman, Matt Collette, Chris Granger. I want to point something out. Evan Kaufman, Eastern Standard Time. Matt Collette, Mountain Standard Time. Chris Granger, Pacific Standard Time. But yet, every week, like clockwork, you got three top producers that meet to talk business, to hold each other accountable, to talk to each other.
Holy
and there's
mackerel.
Evan Kaufman jumping in right now from the WeVet headquarters. Is also WeVet Home Loans. Evan, thank you for joining us. I'm just telling everybody a little bit about your group. I think one of the most important things that you're actually in three different time zones. Somebody tell me how this group met.
I guess it all started with UWM Success Track. Just a couple of guys wandering around. I think we were probably eating lunch at some point, and we all sat down at the same table, just talking, chit-chatting. And funny enough, we bonded over our love of Costco and the brand. So we started jabbing around the $1.50 Costco hot dogs and the free sodas. And then all of a sudden, we were just joking about us. Are we the Kirk boys? And we're like, yeah, we're the Kirk boys. So because we love Kirkland. And then we just hung out the rest of the weekend. We talked. We bounced ideas off each other. We talked a lot of business. We talked about life. We talked about everything. And we just found out that, hey, we're all in the same phase of life. We're all in the same activities. And guess what? We like each other. So once we got done with the weekend, we're like, hey, we want to continue this. We're having a great time. We're getting a lot of good ideas bouncing off each other. So let's continue this, and let's just have some more meetings moving forward. One meeting the next week led to another one led us to us saying, hey, should we just do this every week? And we're like, yes, let's do this every week. So we set up a time, and then the first thing we started bouncing ideas off was just talking. What are you doing that's working for you? What are you doing that's not working? And then we realized, and Evan kind of took the hold of this, was let's make this a little bit of a procedure, and let's break down each different component of how our business works. And let's figure out how we can optimize and improve it from there. And so we kind of did that, and we took it week by week, step by step, where we each had a little bit of the homework assignments. And you guys, you can do this by yourself we figured out you can do this by yourself for as long as you want, but you're not going to improve unless you're able to bounce ideas off of and talk to people. In the broker world, it can be what people can say a lonely world because you're by yourself. You're a lone wolf. But guess what? Wolves hunt in packs. So that's what we do. We effectively create our own little pack, and now we're figuring out ways to more efficiently, more effectively go out and hunt. So that's kind of the impetus. That's the background story. If you guys got stuff to add on top of that.
Is there any special initiation? Do you guys pull up in a van at night and grab somebody and take them off and haze them to get into the group?
I'll show you the scar on my hand from when we did the blood shake for everything together.
What do you think this was for? An elbow.
I saw. I don't want to say nothing, but I saw Matt doing taekwondo, and I'm like, okay, he's
little bit of basketball. 6'5". I think I'm 6'5". Everyone else is actually 6'5". So,
hey, quick shout out to Evan. Just had wife, and Evan just had baby number 4. Congratulations!
Thank you.
Incredible. Matt, how many kids do you have?
I got one, and another baby boy due in October. So we're adding to the litter.
Awesome, Chris. How about you?
I got an 8-month-old boy, so he might make a visit because I'm on dad duty right now too. So he might make a special appearance.
Well, I'll jump in there. I have 2 boys. They're not quite babies, but Jordan and Justin kick my butt all day long. I've got grown men now as sons, so I'm 57. But I wouldn't change a thing. What you guys feel in this moment, same thing I feel for them, even when they want to whoop on me a little bit. But they push me, that's for sure. They push me to be better every day. So Jordan and Justin are kind of like my accountability because they're very modern. I did where I am old school. And old school has its benefits, but it's not always there's a separation of old school and that's part of what I've got with you guys today. A lot of 57-year-olds, people, if the average loan originator is like 46 years old because we don't have a lot of new people coming in, that means we have a lot of people on the back end of technology, social media, willing to make videos, willing to put themselves out there. And I'm trying to show people, stop trying to put it on your own shoulders, make it by yourself. Find somebody that you can make an accountability partner out of, and vice versa, let alone three of you, which is awesome, on three different time zones. That means you have three different markets to talk about at any given time, which is awesome. You're not just all located in one little area. I think there's diversity in the group, which I love as well. I'm in Georgia, so obviously I'm a little bit different time zone. I'm over with the Evan Kaufman side of life, but I'm more in the southern part of the U.S. He's up what, in Wichita? Is that where you're at?
Wichita, and that's central. So really, we got all four time zones right here. There you
I
go.
guess that's true. That's true. So we're pushing it, but technology is amazing that we could have four people in multiple time zones being able to discuss loans, life, where it's all going. Um, do you guys have your own strengths that you bring to the group, or do you guys all go after the same type of business?
Well, I
Definitely.
think it's a good question. I think we all bring a special, unique skill set to the table. We've all been in the real estate business for over a decade, almost approaching 2 decades, and so
Wow.
I think with our experience there, we all kind of add different tools there. I think Evan, he's focused on VA, and so any VA questions that come up for me, he's my first call. Chris is out there in San Francisco, and so he's dealing with jumbo loans,
Oh
this
yeah.
buy before you sell, bridge loan type of stuff a lot. And so he's my go-to when I have any type of question like that comes up, with which I don't get as often.
Tell me this, guys, real quick. I like people to know this. Matt, what states are you licensed in?
Colorado, California, Washington, Texas, Florida, Michigan, Wyoming.
How about you, Chris?
California, Oregon, Washington, Hawaii, Nevada, Arizona, Colorado. West
Wow,
Coast.
from West Coast a little bit in. Now, Evan, I'm afraid to ask you that question because I know how many
I
licenses
didn't
you
name
have.
all.
You'd be here for a while.
Less. Rich, about every 1 year.
Maybe I should ask the opposite. What licenses don't you have? Sometimes,
New York, Massachusetts, right? I can always call those off the top of my head.
yeah, those are easy. Now, a
30
lot of people don't
something.
understand Evan. Evan came to us with an extensive background. We vet real estate across the nation, had one heck of a network, and helping VA buyers um, make transition. Just an incredible story, and we'll have to get that one on one when we do his best of the best. But he transitioned into not only helping people relocate, but helping them with an incredible VA experience. Something that when I first met Evan, we had a conversation because, quite honestly, I didn't just want another loan officer. We got loan officers all day, right? What I wanted and what I got with Matt, Evan, and Chris, I got people with vision wanting to do something, to take what we give them in a box and say, but I have some of my own ideas. And, they go out there and they implement these things, putting people in houses all over the United States, which is incredible. The amount of licenses you guys cover just between you. Um, Here's an important question, and all of you probably should answer it. You live in one state, but yet you have multiple licenses. People are like, well, how would you ever get business in another state? How would you ever have conversations with people? Somebody take that and run with it and start helping people understand that it's all in your mind. It's all in your mind.
Well, I'll tell you from California, Evan, you have a unique business model, which I love. So I'm going to save you for a second. But for someone like me in California, we all know, we all read the news, we all look on Twitter, we all know that people are exiting California. Where are they going to? Other states. Typically, yeah, I know.
No, I'm kidding.
Those San Franciscans over here. A lot of people have left though, and where are they moving to? Lower cost areas, which is great to have second homes like in Arizona or Colorado, or just moving out. So it's helped.
Right.
If you turn down one or two loans, you become apprehensive to that. So you're like, I don't want to have to turn down a loan again. So you get those licenses. It's pretty relatively easy, but for people
Right.
that transplants, that's from California at least, it's really helped my business grow from there.
Okay.
Matt?
Yeah, you know what? I'm similar to Chris. My wife's from California, so and a college roommate of mine is a real estate agent out in San Diego. So I've had my California license for a while, in addition to my home state of Colorado. Michigan, I got family. I try to have a business case in each state that I get a license in. But it's definitely not too intimidating to do some business. Just got to be aware of the state specific rules and
Yeah.
guidelines, and so go into it with your eyes wide open. If you're do a transaction in a state for the first time, and make sure to do that due diligence. But we're getting, I mean, this day and age, you get people with relationships and family members all over the country. We're more connected than ever, and it just makes sense to have some more states to help our client base.
I think it's fantastic. Evan, what's your thoughts?
I'd say, Rich, kind of what you talked about in the very beginning there. You see the power of how technology allows us to have a group of like us together in multiple time zones, different places. And so you just pointed at the beginning how powerful that can be for brainstorming, growing. I know, for example, like in our group, it could be odd if maybe we were all in the same city and all had the same niche. Sometimes that can feel competitive. The beauty of this is when you're in different cities, you have a little less of that feeling. So I can ask a top producer like Chris and Matt in their places questions, and they feel not as threatened to talk and go back and forth because we're geographically dispersed. Same concept with leads and clients. So if we're going to say, hey, it's great that we have this opportunity to brainstorm and build together at a distance, why can't we apply that to our clients and the people we're working with around the country? I'd say technology's opened that up just in the same way you pointed out. It's opened us up, being able to collaborate. It also opens us up to being able to work for our clients as they move around the country. So, as I say, that's really the big thing. If anyone had a fear on it, about it, think about it in that way. The beauty that technology gives us
Sure.
to grow and learn more, it can help you extend it and grow more. And the guys just talked on the business decision behind that. Typically, one deal can fuel a decent, a new additional license for quite a while. So you just got to do that decision on, hey, do you think you're gonna be a long term, and take into consideration what the legality implication could be, and go for it.
Here's a question for all of you. 'Cause you said you met out at Success Track, but here's my thing with that. Because a lot of people think Success Track is for newbies. And I would say that neither one of you three are newbies in the industry, but yet you all found value to go out to take UWM up on their free, you know, assistance to get you out to go there and pay for you to go there. I mean, I don't know anybody else that does that. And that's one thing no one can ever take from UWM. They will educate you. There's so many classes you can take besides Success Track. But talk to me a little bit about that, because that was something that was new for me when I first hooked up with UWM, to go like, okay, you're going to pay for me to come out there, attend a class, and you're going to feed me there. I just got to get to and from the airport. That's going to be interesting. Have you been out multiple times? Have you taken any real estate agents out to the real estate side of it that they do?
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
Rich, that's actually we met at a real estate agent,
Okay.
one day, I believe, and so I actually didn't even bring a real estate agent because I kind of just heard about it, and I wanted to meet you and Elisa in person,
That's the one you
some
went
other
to. Okay.
people, and so that's why I came out there, and I was of course fortunate enough to meet Chris and Evan while we were there, but that wasn't of course the first or only success track that we've been at together. I think Evan and I have been at two since then, and Chris had a baby he mentioned, and so he was at the last one with us. And yeah, we probably are going to plan on getting out there every quarter. And and it's in that downtime and the lunchtime and the dinner time, and where you really can make that time efficient, because the classes are great. We're industry professionals. We've been doing it for a long time. You're going to pick up maybe a handful of things in each class, but really the game changing stuff is when we put our heads together, when we're all in that focus, in that intention, and in that rhythm, and can game plan about how to build our business better.
And I think the first thing we even
100%
talked
agree
about,
with you.
which is what got us going, was tax structure entities of our business, whether it's a Schedule C or 1120S. how do we do this? How do we optimize this? Like I came from the retail world where I was a W-2 employee. This was a big reason why I wanted to change. And this is one of the big reasons that like got our brains going. We're like, oh, our brains actually work the same way. We're actually looking to optimize every aspect of this. And that's kind of what got this whole thing going.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
By the
you
way,
know
we're
what?
going. UWM wants us to come out. They're talking about. We'll see if they come through. They called us and said we want to do another one of those events, but we want to make it bigger, maybe for the end of the year. And I'm like, okay, well, take the shackles off this time, because I'll bring 1,000 people. No,
Yeah,
but I don't want to have to call all of them. That's my only problem. But we have another one in the making. They liked that event. They've seen the growth of the company. They've seen the growth of the loans with the individuals that come out there. So something to keep on your list, because we're going to blow that one out if we do. They might even have to shut UWM down. I don't know.
yeah,
Hey, that's where you get a
yeah.
lot of the
Hey, you
money.
Maybe.
know what?
That's it.
Well, and I found a lot of value in it too because I had actually just came from the retail world and understanding what the broker world was like, even as an experienced, I mean, I've been in business for 10, 11 years at that point. Even understanding what the broker world does and the intricacies of the broker side was super helpful. So anyone who's like less than a year in, I'd say you got to get there as soon as possible. Go there multiple times and take multiple of their classes because it's only going to make you better. And then you also, once you've been there, you know, in the broker world for more than a year, then it's honestly it's about the relationships and it's about the extra activities that you're learning and the people that you're meeting and the value that you're getting from them, as well as you know meeting your AE, talking to Hayden, and then getting established in a relationship there, and that all helps meeting the underwriters and stuff too. So that was very very helpful.
Absolutely.
Talk to me, gentlemen. Chris, I think your wife's in the business, right?
No, no, she's not. She's a marketer. But she's honestly she can repeat my prequel, which is about an hour long, by heart. But she effectively is. So yeah.
Okay, Evan. I get it. Your wife has been very busy, but you've got the WeVet stuff going on, both real estate and loans. Talk to us a little bit about, because here's the thing: a lot of people say, "Oh, I just don't have time," and I'm thinking, you don't have time to not be doing things. That's what I think. But tell us a little bit about a day in the life of Evan Kaufman with all you've got going on.
Right now, it's waking up to probably a crying baby next to me at the time being, but we got four under five. I say our daughter's 4.5, our oldest, and then everyone else just cascades down from there. But my wife, she did help build the Weave at Realty brand that we built. She was the one that built that. It was out of a deal that I had been doing for clients when I was actively selling. The unique thing about our little group here is beautiful thing. Chris and Matt both have, God, what is it? You said, Chris, you're at 10 and some change, and Matt, what, 13 years or 12 years, something like that? Is that right?
At
17.
12, yeah, yeah, yeah.
17. That's right. He's like, God, don't shortchange him. He was doing mortgages in high school, I tell you. So youngest you can get licensed for it. But for my background, it's mortgages are new. The last not even 2 years, or I think I might have just taken the
Barely,
test
yeah.
2 years ago. So it was, hey, find a niche. What can you get really good at, and try to make sure that I can still add value to guys like Matt and Chris. And so that's our niche VA. It's all I pretty much know. And my wife, on that hand, like the team duo for us, she helped build that realty brand where we're connecting with military agents, because I was actively selling a real estate broker. And so our days together, if we're talking like about the spousal game with my wife, it's been six. We launched that back 6+ years ago now. And so all we know is working together, and we joke we don't know if there's any other way we would know what to do, like, because I wouldn't know about
Right.
our date doing somewhere else, and vice versa. So that's been wonderful.
I agree.
Our work's toned back a little bit with all the kids now, and we've hired on from there. But it's been a really good experience, and that's just opened up a lot of doors. And the opportunity with Expert versus building this out necessarily on our own from scratch has been really good. Your comment of a bumper sticker always still sticks with me. I absolutely love that. That's a unique take that not a lot of, I think, other brokers or folks would put into someone, or give that ability for someone else to try to grow their business. So we've taken that and tried to run with it. And I'm thinking we'll continue to run with it here into 2024 or 2025. Holy cow. And through 25.
Time goes fast, huh?
Right.
Cruises.
Well, now, here's the thing that Matt and Chris have on Evan. Evan's busy, but he hasn't been through a rate reduction market yet. So where the refis start to kick in, and you, just as crazy as you are trying to maintain business, now all of a sudden you add in the refis, but yet you're still trying to take care of your realtors. Um, and so I hear people complain at both ends of the spectrum, right? Because, and
Yeah.
I shouldn't say complain. It's where we're pushed at both ends, and you have to find your own balance because you're either chasing it or you're working it, one way or the other. I always tell people I'm a full time marketer, and occasionally I get to do loans for people, but I just feel like that's what I'm constantly doing. I'm making sure I have as many avenues of possible business always working for me because I never know which avenue is going to hit on a given day. But I know this: if I just go one direction all the time, I, that's just not enough in today's world. There's with the competition, with people's needs, things like that. I know you concentrate on VA loans, Evan, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's an incredible market, an underserved market. Now I'm going to say it this way because a lot of people say, "No, we do VA." Yeah, a lot of people are crappy at VA and they take advantage of people on VA, and that's not doing VA.
Yeah.
And that's what Evan and I had talked about. I want to give back to those who have served us and or serve us, and boy, they have done a great job with that. I take my hat off to them because they can get further in the markets, but I know that Evan, he watches how much he makes on transactions. He stays within a certain realm that's professional, but he doesn't take advantage. And he's truly putting people on houses. And guess what? They come back. And then he overserves them. So I love that about you, Evan. Matt, I've got to meet you one on one out at the when Air Force lost to what was it, Army. We didn't like that, of
Don't
course.
mention that.
Okay.
It wasn't what I
Matt's the man.
expected, but
Matt's the man for that tailgate, bringing a lot of goods, man. That's the man.
that's a good.
Hey, it was a good
tailgate.
time.
I even got out for that tailgate.
Hey, I appreciate Evan for getting me into that game, man. It was fun to see. That flyover was something special.
Absolutely was. He got me in there too, just so you know. It helps when you know somebody.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah,
Chris, have
so
you been out there yet for one of his tailgates? Because I think he
No,
does
I've
what?
been
One in
invited.
Texas
I've been
also,
invited, but
doesn't he?
I was deep in the baby world. I was deep in
All
the
right.
trenches, which Evan's in now. Which, yeah, but I'm gonna be making the next one for sure, though.
yeah.
It's
This is what
October.
I learned at that tailgate. A lot of Evan's connections are all have kids at that same age, and they're running wild everywhere. Yep.
Finance. We did. So it was a year and a half of building the business straight on purchase. But thank goodness for having Matt and Chris because they've helped just explain what that's like, show what that's like, and give me an experience that I just wouldn't have had. My gosh, that's cool. Whatever my phone. Do you guys just see the breaking background there?
Yeah.
That
I'm not even
was
sure what just happened.
goodness from Matt and Chris. And then for people listening, you see the screen behind me ended up shooting fireworks everywhere. That's
Great
pretty cool.
timing.
New feature, I guess, of the Mac software. But the beauty of that was I've got to live a little bit through them, which has helped me out tremendously in just learning what to do. And so ideally, if that refinance turn comes, we're prepared for that. And we've talked on that, like Chris
Right.
told at the beginning, having our topics. We structured our meetings a little bit more after we had the first few. And I think that really helped us just add a little more to all of our businesses. The tax structuring, like Chris had mentioned, our talk on refinance work between both Chris and Matt. Man, they both gave me their pitches that they gave for how to do refinances, and they're incredible. If anyone's listening to this, you got to talk with either of those guys. Like Matt was the master of it for years, and Chris has a killer presentation that just blew my socks off. And now I'm like, how can I even put those two together in my world? And it goes back to that power of the team. I wouldn't have had that experience and open up to folks without it. And then hopefully I've given them some back forth, and it all goes together in one. And I think we're going to knock it out of the park here in the next 6 to whatever months if we actually have rates just stay flat at least for a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know that they're going to raise them anymore, but this is that blowout period where they just kind of how long are they going to stretch it? But Amanda Rawls had a great story the other day, and I'm sure you guys do this too, but it reminded me anybody can do a refi when the rates are going down. I mean, true, you'll see people come out of the woodworks, but your people will burn you for an eighth of a percent if they can get it cheaper here and here. Like there's no loyalty unless you can create more of a shinier apple. And what I mean by that, Amanda, she did a refi the other day, bill consolidation, but She didn't restart the guy at 30 years. He didn't lose any ground. She put him on a flex term of 25 years. So he's something a little different. Started thinking outside the box. Took the money she saved and said, and the odds are people aren't going to reuse that savings because they need the money. But just painting a picture, gosh, if you were to take that full $2,500 savings, you could save another $250,000. Let me show you how. It's just you're painting so many pictures that you're pumping them up, you're giving them incredible knowledge and value. Because I guarantee you, when the refi starts, most of your competitors are order takers, and they pass it on to an assembly line, and it just keeps going. That's the Wells, that's the B of A, that's the Chase. Quite honestly, that's some of your bigger ones, American Pacific and Guild. But yet they still do 70% of the overall business are those direct lender models, even though a broker can give them possibly a lower rate and a personalized transaction. I'm hoping that changes, but I've never seen it more than 50%.
I'm raising a hand to ask you a question, Rich. He said,
Do it.
For agents, you deal with so many of us all the time, or agents. See, I'm still thinking always in broker world sometimes. For LOs, how many of us do you feel have strong follow-up systems and are able to stay in front of clients in order to make sure we get that refinance in the long run?
And I believe in being honest. I believe in saying it like it is. I wish I could say 100%, but it's not. I would say probably less than 40% are willing to pay for a quality CRM or follow-up system. And part of the reason is they think I can't afford to do that. But to me, it's the opposite. You can't afford not to do that. One loan that you catch will pay for that whole system for the whole year, if not more than. I mean, especially with RAD CRM. Can you guys tell me? I don't know what everybody uses. Anybody use RAD CRM? Or are you using something different?
So we've ultimately,
I think we're all using a sprinkling of different things. For we kind of
tell
talk
people what
about
you're
how.
using, because I'm not on one. I mean, I realize there's more. Tell us what you're using to help with this.
I think Matt, Chris and I are using is Go High Level.
Okay.
Evan's got Follow Up Boss, I believe, that he
Good.
uses. I'm testing out one other one to see if it works well to add. But yeah, you know what? There's Go High Level is nice because it's customizable, and I've always been frustrated with all the different tabs open and all the different technologies and all scattered everywhere, and so. We're taking some time to really customize our own CRM, have our kind of command center, if you will, and have all our tools right there at your fingertips, so you can be as efficient as possible. But yeah, that follow up, it's imperative, it's important, and I could tell you firsthand how painful it is from spending 16 years in the retail side and then not being able to keep the CRM or take the CRM or do that. And so that's another advantage to be on the broker side, is that it's like owning your own house. We help people buy their own home. You're working on a CRM on the retail side. You think it's your own house. It's not. The moment that you leave that company, you got to start fresh. And so I'm excited on what we're building because once it's built, it's going to run really well.
And I think the important thing too is you can't just buy a CRM and then expect it to run. Is you have to invest the time up front to make sure that it's set up in a way that you want it to do. And you have to spend that time, and it's not going to be a couple of hours. It's going to be days and weeks to set it up properly. And I think knowing that once you do that and you spend that time, it is following up for you. And it's you setting up all of the emails that you send anyways, but it's setting them up over time. So it really takes time up front, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, Rich. You got to tell it like it is. So, and you have to spend some time up front, but once you do, man, when it starts to get going, and it really creates some efficiencies for you. And this is going to help us. And we see one thing that we're doing now, the three of us, is we're optimizing each thing now. So that way, when rates do drop, we can then have the ability to scale. And that's kind of what the biggest thing and what the most important thing is. Like, we even hired a new a processor together. So we're training her in the same ways. And as we scale up too, we have the ability to hire on as well too. So I think that's one thing that we have really found that was great, which is we're sharing resources as well too. So sharing
Explain that. I haven't touched on that because he did, and I totally forgot about that. You're in 3 different time zones.
Hmm?
You're sharing a processor. Talk
Yeah.
about that a little bit.
So it goes exactly what first Matt and Chris are pretty kind about their own achievements for it. We did bond together to build a CRM, and those two dudes put in a lot of the work for it. We used my tech guy we got, but then Chris wrote everything out, and Matt's been testing it, running it through, which has been great for stuff. So we pool in our resources. We can do that, right? Like high level has a certain requirement you got to get to make things really work well and spend money. We all split that. It's worked out well. Processing was in the
Okay.
same respect. We look at, hey, each of us have our own individual volume where it doesn't quite justify maybe a good full hire on processing that can give us all the quality that we're looking for. Because we're strong believers that, hey, if we get someone that's of high quality and they're trained in our systems and how we think, then ultimately we ideally can do a higher loan volume and offer still really good service. I think sometimes what they get stuck with maybe third party processing is you can have a high quality person, but they might be spread across 20 other LOs and it might dilute the experience that individuals are getting. So we were all talking of, hey, volume, looking in the process of where we can start enhancing the experience and potentially realizing some cost savings. What's the next step? And processing was in part of that. So we ultimately all ended up doing interviews for that, going through it together, making that decision, and brought her in. She's under my branch for it, but we all end up using Heather. She's absolutely fantastic. And it's really been a good experience. So they mentioned the CRM. We've done that for processing. We're now doing that for some new tech tools that we're working to develop and build, and we'll see where it goes. But again, it kind of comes with a concept of when you're running in packs, like what Chris said earlier, great, running in packs, wolves hunting. It's like we're three of us, three musketeers, three amigos. I think there's three Kirk boys or whatever if there was a band, which John Mayer,
right.
by the way, that dude loves Kirkland, and so he sports Kirk gear everywhere. I don't know if I'm
He
a
gets
John
it.
Mayer fan, though. Maybe he's probably pretty similar, right? Middle 30. How do we improve? Why not? Let's try this. Let's try this. And that's probably been the most, I'd say the most fun and satisfying working with these guys. It's been an absolute blast.
Yeah, and
I
trying
like
new
it.
things too. I mean, this is a business. It's an exciting thing, especially coming from the retail world about being able to build your own systems, not being, say, someone says, "Hey, you have to take this, you have to use this." We can do whatever the heck we want as brokers. So that's one of the beauties of this. And if something doesn't work, guess what? We can pivot quickly, and or if we want to create something ourselves or buy something that we think works, there's a lot of good synergies there. Like Evan is a VA specialist, which then means his processor is a VA specialist, which then means I have a specialist VA processor. When I do,
VA in the
probably a handful of VA deals a year, they're going through, I'm like a 25-day close. I could probably close a thing like 15, 18 days because of, I'm doing a VA deal right now. But guess who that's because of? Heather, which is because of who? Evan.
That's your second one,
Okay.
isn't it? That's all. Party for
So,
it.
which is great because there's a lot of misconceptions that I just been able to like ask Evan about. It's like really, it's not as hard as you thought. There's not as many. I mean, I've done VA deals in the past, but just listing agents don't want to accept them out here because it's California and they only want non-contingent 15-day closes. So it's a different world. But
Hey, let me
Evan's
try
great.
this real fast. See what happens.
You're trying
What's
the
that?
but. You thought you were going to get the outcut. You thought you were going to get the bubbles.
Did it work? I didn't think it worked. I thought it might. Maybe
Yeah,
maybe it didn't like it live. I have these little claps and things like that.
it just was on there.
I was like, hey, I got to get on this. I'm loving this.
I don't know.
Matt, you
It's
turned
hand
something
motions. It just
earlier because
randomly
you
does
talked
it.
about it. You guys, who all uses the expert branding and who all uses their own branding?
I'm on expert branding.
Okay.
Not your
Yeah,
Premier
but
Trust and you got.
yeah, both Evan and I do have a DBA.
Okay. Tell me a little about your DBA. What's the name of your DBA, Matt?
Premier Trust Lending. I got it licensed in all the different states that I'm licensed in, so I'm good to market in that. That's one thing that you got to be aware of is that if you're marketing in those states that if you have a DBA, you got to get that process done as well and get it approved. So yeah, excited about that and looking forward to building that brand.
Evan, how about you?
Well, I mean, as we kind of already had the brand of WeVet beforehand, which is really helping military families move around the country. The WeVet name was WeVet, it's double T's at the end for vetting, the vetting process we had for agents. And we just took that same brand and made it WeVet Home Loans. And so thanks to you, Rich, and of course the team for saying, hey, rather than again just trying that out on your own, come try to build that here and take the DBA for it. And that's been really, really helpful. And getting it licensed, as Matt said, getting it in all the right places, filed, and putting the papers and everything for it. It's been a fun experience. But then big thanks, of course, I should say, to Jordan on that one. One of those two sons you mentioned in the beginning, Rich. So, but overall, that's our brand, and it just kind of comes back to the last 6 years of serving military families. We've just been able to extend that into mortgage. It's been a lot of fun.
Right. You know, that was important when we did it this time, just like with my last company. The question was, if it's legal, why not? So many people come over and they've been working for somebody else's brand. And for some people, like, you know what, I don't want to always build somebody else's brand, because then if I leave or I need to maneuver, I'm leaving all that stuff there, you know, and like what Matt was saying. And I'm like, well, why are we doing it that way? If we're truly trying to act as independent as we can, now the auditors hate it. I get it. But if it's legal within the state to allow for a branding of a secondary name, then why not? And so as long as it's legal, I'm happy with it, because we're partnering with some incredible names and it benefits all of us. So I realize that some people are passing through, whether it's 1 week, 1 year, 10 years. That's not a bad thing. I passed through the brokerage I was at and one day said, you know what, I want to go do my own thing. Hey, I hope everybody stays forever, right? But it doesn't always work that way. But the question is, how can I help you guys when I have to truly mean it? How do I help you get to your dreams? Because the more I help you get your dreams, the more my dreams seem to be fulfilled. The more successful I am after I help make you the most successful you are. My job is to push you outside the box, though. And I think some people get scared that I'm pushing them. So no one has to go do that stuff. But I want to make sure I push people to what their dreams are. What is the absolute most hope that you have to accomplish in this business? Loans, real estate, for your realtors, you know, for your community. And then how can we help? How can we come alongside of that? It has to be more than just a loan transaction with a number on it. And that's where I think the separation has come for me as I'm getting older in the business. I'm 57. I don't get excited just to add another loan originator or to close another loan. I got excited yesterday because one of my loan officers in California said, hey, would you consider sponsoring an event for foster kids who are about ready to be bounced out of the system? And by the way, if you do this size of the table, I can have 4 people come and we can actually speak. And I'm like, I'm all in. So you had me at kids. Just tell me veterans, the people that serve us, frontline workers, teachers on the front line all day, and kids, man, you got me. How can I help? Where can I be tomorrow? I'll get on my personal jet airplane. Oh, wait, wrong company. Sorry. I'll get on I'll pay for a ticket and I will get out to wherever you guys are at, because that is more exciting to me now, to help others. And now it just goes across all channels. But you guys all do stuff like that. And that just, I love that, because that compassion just pulls through into what you do and how you do it and the quality by which you do it. I can't say thank you to you guys enough, because you do it on your own. No one's prodding you. No one's calling you saying, hey, Evan, you're not doing enough VA loans, right? I don't need to say a word to anybody. You guys are type A personalities and you go attack it. Look, Chris took a black eye for it last night. I know what he's doing on his spare time. He is fighting for every loan, literally.
That's right.
It's not nuts. Love it.
That's what excites me about the business as I get older. I hope that you guys, if you go off to do your own thing, if you want to take 34 years of experience and get to the nuts and bolts of it, my business changed is the day that I said, you know what, I could do this different. If I were to take a little bit less and make it more about them and go after the purchase market, go find the best purchase people, because there's always purchases. And I say that sometimes it's in a tough market, somebody's downfall becomes somebody's opportunity. It's just always been that way, right? It doesn't make anybody bad or good because you're helping a transaction. It's just hey, the economy, people, I don't get to control everybody's finances. Sometimes people bite off more they can choose. It gets too tight, they got to sell, and now we have a chance to get somebody else in the house. I love putting people in houses. Everybody deserves the American dream. Everybody deserves that chance at, man, your kids having their own room, having your own backyard, or whatever. Whatever it is about the house that makes it a home, right? Anybody could have a house. I like putting people in homes. And it comes back tenfold all the time. I went off on a rant there. Sorry. Matt, where do you live in Colorado?
Just right in Denver, pretty close to Mile High Stadium. So yeah,
That's okay. So where I met you, we're going to be in Boulder on August 14th for a happy hour event. We did Denver last time. We're going to do the Boulder. I know it's a little further for you, but we're flying in.
That's
for
all
that.
right. I always love going up to Boulder. That's where I went to college. So it's always nostalgic to go back up to Boulder.
I'm hoping to see Dion while I'm there. Neon Dion.
That's right.
I thought he'd throw a couple passes to me when I'm out on the sideline. Tuck it and show him how to do it. You know.
He changed the energy up there in Boulder. It's definitely a vibe up there right now.
Chris, who's your favorite football team?
I'm an Oregon State guy. So go Beavs. We're in the Pac-2 right now. Hey, you guys, we're still out here. Don't forget about us.
We're going to
Don't
see where
forget
that
about
one
us.
goes.
We'll get a play.
Hey, got to stay our coach. We lost our players, but guess what? We didn't lose the heart. We still got it there.
Didn't lose the heart. They're coming to Colorado Springs this year. So it's going to be good.
That's right. That's right. You better watch out. We're coming to Colorado Springs. So.
Well, we have to mention that Evan played college football for Air Force. So is that your favorite team, Evan?
Yeah, Evan, what's your favorite team?
Hey, if you got to cheer for anyone, just know this. Those dudes were typically, I always like to say, we're really a bunch of Division II athletes bound together to go play D1 ball. And then we're usually the guys that they say, they had a great quote when we played Oklahoma my freshman year. I wasn't really playing then, but they had a good quote where on ESPN, the announcer said, man, I only think there's maybe one or two guys on the field that could play for Oklahoma. And it was a close game. We lost by 7, final drive and we always play those guys, any of the big schools, tough because they don't want to play the option. But anyways, the announcer said, I don't think only one or two players could maybe play for Oklahoma. And then the other announcer said, I think only one or two of the Oklahoma players could make it at the academy. And then the guy said, you say that? He goes, well, you said it. So if you ever want to cheer for a bunch of dudes that aren't doing it for the glory, heck, the women don't even want to date us when we're there at the academy. They want to date the dudes jumping out of airplanes and flying them. So it's one of those schools that you can know you're cheering for some good guys that are going to go on to do something that's not usually pro sports, but fighting and serving, which has been good. So, yeah. I like Air Force. Good.
I think the realization for me with the Air Force, because Jordan went to Air Force Academy, but he played behind a catcher, Travis Wilkie, and these are just kids, man. And they take these guys, I call them kids coming out of college, you're what, 23, 24, you know, and some of these kids go straight in and start flying, learn how to fly fighter pilots. And, you know, Travis lost his life just practicing to learn how to fly. And it was just an absolute tragedy to hear that, because that could have been anybody's son, right? Or anybody's daughter. Matter of fact, his fiance, I think, was flying above him and saw it because she was also a fighter pilot. I mean, when you realize what they do and what they're doing it for and where they're going, they're doing it for us, the average Joes out here who wondering whether I'm going to get a Grande or a Vente. Right? That's all I'm worried about. These guys are being put all over the world at beckons call to serve us. And it's pretty humbling and tragic at the same time. I'm embarrassed that the disrespect we show. There should never be a veteran sleeping in a gutter, right? It shouldn't happen. I don't care if they were there 1 year or if they served in an actual war. It doesn't matter. I'm going off on a rant. I'm going off. Pull it back, Rich. Pull it back. Look, I expect more out of our company. I expect more out of our loan originators. I expect more out of our industry. VA loans are very lucrative just because, they're 100% financing, right? I mean, you get the biggest bang for your buck from a loan. But at the same point, um, they do some things that I don't understand, such as it's whatever the approval allows on the back end. Can we really do a loan at 75% DTI? If it says, and I'm like, is that a good thing, right? But as long as they meet what do they call it? You got to have that.
Residual.
Yeah, as long as you have the residual. And I'm like, yeah, but does the residual work in the real world? But I have a heart for VA. I love that these guys connected with you. I love that you guys went together to get an incredible VA processor all around, but has VA capabilities, because
all around
there is some avenues for that.
He knows those jumbo rules now, which is nice too. That's what get down.
Nice. Okay.
That's right. That's right. But she actually didn't know VA beforehand. Evan taught her. So, the whole thing, and now she teaches us. So it all trickles down and it all trickles to everyone else. So
find the right person. It all learns about the right seat, and that makes all the difference. So
that's right.
And 100% agree.
Finding the right person, the right team. And I think, Rich, that's coming back to, like, for you with Expert's Sake, you were talking about it there earlier. I know all of us had talks with different companies and stuff when making our transitions. For me, it was building, if it was going to be from scratch, or trying to go with some other like model that was starting to get opened up, thanks to, again, Jordan and like Harrison, old Harry Elliott telling me that stuff. But ultimately, like the statement you just made a little bit ago, talking about wanting to see other people grow and do their thing and build their stuff, that's, I think, your secret power and what Expert has behind it. As long as it's got you and that vision continuing, you've got folks like us willing to help build and do that. And the fact that you see that we want to build something ourselves is really important, and I think a rarity that you don't see even from other brokerage shops necessarily, let alone other retail models or other businesses. And I think that's your secret power, as I was telling you on the phone. It's that personality you got for it, which is really cool. And I just hope somehow myself, we as a whole, can all learn some from that too. So I think that's really powerful.
Here's a question for you. Number one, I appreciate that. Thank you. I know you guys talk each other, but individually, do you have, I know the answer, but I'd rather the crowd also know the answer. Are you just working by yourself, or do you have team members that you work with, other loan officers, things like that?
Yeah, so I'll start off. I have a business manager and 5 loan officers on my team. From the running a branch on the retail side, that's kind of how it progressed on the broker side. So we're building, and once we have the systems in place, a lot more dialed in, we'll probably ramp up the recruiting efforts a little bit more.
I like it.
Yeah, I gotta just hired a junior partner, like another loan officer, to help me, because we're getting busy, and the thing is, we're able to scale here. Like, we're able to close loans in 15 days. It's easy, so it's just like, hey, let's go get more. That, and I got another assistant as well too, and then along with Heather, it's a big team, and it's growing, and we're getting ready to scale. So always getting ready, and yeah, it's been great, and everyone's been able to plug in super easily. So if you want to add another body part, another piece, highly recommended. It's as easy. It takes 2 days, and then they're ramped. That's it. With Nate and with everyone, with Justin, the whole team, and everyone, the onboarding, I couldn't be more excited about, like, how thrilled, like, how easy it is to add people here. So it's Rich. It's a testament to the team and to what you guys have got structured and set up. So really appreciative of that.
I like that. Evan, how many people on your team?
I mean, really, for LO, that's me. And then we just brought on a loan officer assistant as well. He's picking stuff up for us. And we have the other side. We got Realty and the brand as a whole for marketing. We got about 4 folks over there that help build new stuff for us. But from a loan perspective, I'm your front guy. And then processor Heather that's working things behind us, and new LOA. So we'll look to continue to grow as long as we can make the volume happen. That's the key.
A lot of people don't realize what I do over here. One thing that I've done differently with this company, Expert, that I've never done before, so even I've had to grow. But instead of hiring all these individual employees, which it's more expensive to do that way, but just like you're doing, the 3 of you share in an expense. Well, I go out and find, for example, One Rose Consulting. I know they have other clients. We've become their biggest. But I have 17 people now that work on our account because of licensing or audits or follow-ups for our quarterlies with NMLS. They handle all that for us, well, in unison with us, but it's nice because I get that 17 people for the fraction of about 3 employees. And they're specialized in that. I have Melody on our back end. She's not an employee here. She actually runs a consulting company, Melody Mayer. A lot of people don't realize she was so high up at USAA when they shut down the Sacramento branch. I've known her my whole life. She is like, if I have a shadow, it's her. Like, she's everywhere. She knows me inside and out. She thinks like me. And that is my right hand person, has been for a long time. Justin, I have, it's funny. Here's a good story. I'm going to embarrass him. So Justin always says, I want to learn more. I want to learn more. And I'm like, you have to understand, he looks at my emails every day and goes through my emails and does 90% of the things that are needed and then highlights stuff for me. This is on top of stuff he's already doing because he helps with, I think One Rose does most of the beginning licensing, but on the back end, he's the one just redoing all the broker packages, recerting, helping people like, hey, why isn't my license going through? He knows how to do that stuff, BBAs, things like that. Once they're started, he knows how to come in and check them. But he also helps with Mel on the back end, when there's payouts and stuff like that, because he understands the funding and balancing. Well, if I haven't said enough yet, he said, I want to make sure I'm learning. I'm like, well, Justin, if I died today, I think you out of everybody here, as far as a working broker, you're probably about as close as you can get to it, right? You're already doing everything. The only thing I can't teach you, which takes time, is auditors, attorneys, the crappy part of the business that no one wants to talk about. But I don't care whether you work out of your garage or if you got 2,000 people. If there's an unhappy client, they need to talk to somebody, right? You got to figure that stuff out. So a lot of people don't realize on Jordan's side, every one of these licenses, I don't think I could have done that. The renewals every year are outrageous because it's a license, plus it's bonds, plus it's E&O, plus it's a certain amount of financials. You guys won't believe this. Like, you get a new license and 5 of them go inactive because it's the system's designed that if you change one thing, Evan, happens to you every now and then, he'll put a new license up and 3 of them will go inactive. I am so thankful. All I get is these emails of confirmation. And people are like, hey, where's Jordan? I'm like, he's right here. He's right there doing it. I can see him doing it. Shout out to my son. He just had his baby girl and made me a grandfather. So I know you're going through that right now too, Evan. But from a grandfather standpoint, it's my first one. And I already told him and his wife, just know that if you get to that point and there's an argument, I've already told my granddaughter, the answer is yes. You can come to my house anytime. I'll pick you up, whatever you need. So don't put her in that situation because grandfather has already said yes. So I got a lot of things to look forward as the older side. I'm probably with a lot of your parents' age. I am amazed and I'm just awestruck, to be honest with you. Never in my life, when I first started out of an office at my house, here I am sitting with 3 top people. I mean, and I've been having interviews with some incredible people, but I'm sitting here talking to 3 incredible loan originators that could work at any platform right now, this second. Hell, you could probably go to a direct lender and they'd give you a signing bonus, But for whatever reason, in this moment of your journey, our paths are crossing. And I can't tell you how honored I am with that. I mean, it's like hitting a home run, a grand slam in the World Series in the 9th inning to win the game. That's how it feels when I get out of bed in the morning with the kind of people I get to partner with. You're not my employees. You're my partners. The expectation is I will bring a certain amount of broker in a box to make sure you can accomplish what you need to for your people, realtors that you serve, and your clients that you serve. And I have to pinch myself sometimes because I'm like, how did it go from this to this? Believe me, the journey ain't just straight up. It's get kicked all along the way. But you know what? Sometimes I can only say thank you to you guys, because you make my day. You make my day. I'm proud. And people say, "Hey, can we talk to you about how you grew expert?" I'm like, "You ain't talking to me. You need to let me. You want to talk to Evan? You want to talk to Matt? You want to talk to Chris? Why don't you talk to the people on the front line that are making expert what it is? Because that's the stories, right? It's not my story, and I'm glad I learned that in this lifetime. Maybe it'll really help me in my next lifetime, right? Who knows? Hey, we're getting to an hour here, and I know you guys are busy, but if you could give one one piece of wisdom, and I want something from each one of you, to another loan originator who's struggling right now in the same market, who's doing it by themselves, Chris, what would it be?
We start a group. If we start a group of people and bounce ideas off. Like I even did this back in retail where I got the Bay Area loan officers into a group, is into a group chat, and every time we had a question on a deal, said, "Hey, I'm struggling putting this deal together," or "Hey, I found a new guideline," or "I found some better way of doing it." I started with 3 of us. It grew to 5. It grew to 15. It grew to 30. Where people just
Wow.
started pinging ideas, and that's effectively kind of the same idea of what we're doing here. So with your own area or not in your own area, because honestly, it's working almost even better with people across the country because you get a more diverse uh, ideas and diverse products and diverse client base. Start a group. It's great. You won't regret it at all.
Okay. Matt?
Yeah, to add on that, I would say, be ready to just keep staying after it and have that grit, right? If you're implementing systems and you're trying new things, they're bound to not work the way that you intended initially, and you got to just keep working on it and keep pushing yourself to build those systems and have a plan. Lay out what you want your business to look like, and then try to find people that have a business that you would want your business to be like and learn from them. I mean, Rich, you're such a mentor. I'm sure you've mentored everybody on this call significantly. I call you when I have a question that I feel like nobody can answer for me, and that's when I call you. And so, just find your people and have a plan, and then wake up every single day. And some days it's going to feel like you're taking punches, and other days it'll feel like you're giving punches. But that's just the mortgage business.
Yeah.
Just keep moving forward. It doesn't look that bad. Sometimes the punches, they're actually kind of nice.
Yeah, yeah. Where
Evan, how about you?
I'd say tactically pick a niche. Could be geographic, could be demographic. Talked on that in some things before. Find a niche, get good at it. Problem sometimes in mortgages, I think there can be so many options, but becoming good at something and focusing on it, I think is an important one. Strategically, that's tactically for whatever advice that is. Strategically, I'd say come more with an open hand than a closed fist. That's kind of that concept of making sure that you're always willing to give, not just take. And that's something we've definitely
Sure.
learned from you, Rich, and I've learned from these two guys because they've opened up about a lot of their stuff that they've learned over their decade plus careers each. So kind of come with that open hand concept rather than the closed fist.
It's funny you say that. So over the years, my niche has become investment properties, my investors. I don't have a lot of borrowers I do loans for. I have investors who do a lot of loans, right?
Mm-hmm.
DSCR has been a huge thing because I have people that have 50, 80, 100, 200 doors, right? Um, Now, with me being out of California, I have boots on the ground across the United States finding these incredible values that I can now go back to them when their market's a little tough in California and say, "Hey, how about that idea? How about we get 3 properties? Have your realtor call these people and we can do it." I'm amazed at the values when you get outside of your own market and you start to learn. The United States is a big place and there's tons of loans. There's tons of pockets that you can find. Georgia's a huge USDA area, which, by the way, is the non-service person's VA, in my opinion, because you can go 100 to I think 102% if the appraisal's there. An incredible program as well. If people don't know it, that's a good niche to learn on top of VA. That way you can go back and forth. I backwards reverse market USDA. I find areas and then I'll attack that product in those areas. I love you doing USDA loans. Not everybody qualifies. There's always, like every program, right? There's always something. But if you learn those niches, man, you can bounce between programs. But I agree with you. I love being good at least one thing, and my investors hear that enthusiasm, and they trust me. I'm also an investor, and I go to a thing called Bigger Pockets. I listen to their podcast all the time, and I'm always in the know of the latest and greatest thought processes, and I can talk on it very quickly. And I think that's important because that's another way to build confidence that you know your niche. And when you can talk that language and do those kind of tax returns and be able to figure out incomes for people old school when you got to break it all down, um, not just relying on AUS to tell you yes or no. You typically know whether you got a deal as soon as you start to see the numbers, right? You start maneuvering it in your head, what people want and what you can do, and you find the value in between, and you still get it done. That navigation, the better you are in this industry, the longer you're here, you learn to navigate for people. They bring an idea, I want to be a homeowner. Cool. For you, it might look like this. For you, it might look like this. And you're able to start maneuvering. You don't just shove everybody through the same hole. And I see that in all three of you. You guys just, I see the deals you do, right? They're not all easy. You don't shy away from deals, right? You're not cherry picking. I see what you do. I'm truly blessed with the three of you. I want to say, just from a grown up individual, 57 years old, a person who's been in the industry 34 years, thank you. You make my life easier. And this is what I imagined for a perfect company. Incredible people like yourselves who are taking initiative to even take it further than what I even imagined. And that I am truly blessed. So Chris, thank you. Evan, thank you. Matt, thank you. Evan, we're going to have a follow up for the best of the best. Evan was one of our top 20 for 2023. And we're going to get him one on one now that he's starting to have a little breathing room with that new family member. Gentlemen, I want to say thank you for your time today. I know you're very busy, and for you to sit here and instill this kind of wisdom and thoughts. Every single loan officer, even outside of expert, could learn something from this conversation. But I just want to say thank you one last time. Any final remarks you need to say before we leave?
Just thank you, Rich. Thank you for putting this whole thing together. So thank you for putting this company together, because it put us together. So thank you. Wouldn't be here without
Thank you, Chris.
Second.
Right on.
Agreed.
All right. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. I've got Chris Granger, Evan Kaufman, Matt Collette. I've got a team here that found each other at UWM Success Track, 3 different time zones, but yet they found the values that all of them could bring to this mentorship. They call it a group, but truly they're mentoring each other in with their strengths and their weaknesses, and learn something from the best of the best. The fact that they're willing to even give their time to try and help and show avenues and ways of success, man, you just can't get that. So thank you, gentlemen, for your time today. And I wish you nothing but success for the rest of the year and in your careers. I'm sure we'll be talking again.
Thank you, Rich.
Thanks, Rich. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Rich.
See you next week, boys.
Kirk
See you guys.
Boys it is.